Hector Bravo, unhinged. Chaos is now in session.
Welcome back to our channels, Warriors. We are still growing. Today, another banger for you guys, man. I found a 23-year in the department active law enforcement officer, man, from a Southern California law enforcement agency. Can't really give up the game too much. We have none other than Goldie. Goldie, what up, dude?
Hey, what's up, brother?
Good to have you on the show, bro.
Man, thanks for having me.
Man, we've been texting or DMing like a while back already now.
Yeah.
And where did you grow up at, dude?
San Bernardino.
San Bernardino, bro. AKA San Bernardino?
Yeah, it can be. Also known as.
Is it really that bad?
Oh, yeah.
Then or now? Or both? Or all of the above?
All the above. You know, there's a song that some local band plays that the song's about losing your soul in San Bernardino. And I think that could happen if you don't watch out.
It's a band?
A band, a local band.
Oh, a local band.
Yeah.
Is it on the mainstream at all, or?
No.
Okay. Is it pretty accurate?
Yeah.
And you mentioned before we got started that you're 45 years old.
45.
What year were you born?
1980.
I'm not good at math, bro.
Yeah, I know. I'm not either.
I was a fucking prison guard.
If it's more numbers than I have fingers and toes, then I can't do it.
So 1980s, man. I'm glad I have you on the show, dude, because like it seemed along the ways like the generations went to hell in a handbasket.
Yeah, there's been a change.
There's been a change, huh? And we'll dive into that as we go. So what kind of kid were you, dude? A jock, a skater, a nerd, bookworm?
Man, I was a poor latchkey kid.
What is that?
Latchkey meaning that I was always locked out of my house. Mom was never home. Single mom, 4 kids. Didn't have keys to the front door, so we always had to crawl in through the windows. I was raised by my friend's parents. Ate dinner routinely at my friend's parents' house. And, but no, you know, it's tough times, but great times.
Sounds like a rough upbringing, dude.
At times.
I mean, in comparison, I mean, I know you're humble about it, but in comparison now to like, was that more rough than like an average upbringing these days with 2 heads of the household family?
Yeah, I'd say some of the rougher times were just dealing with not having money. And, you know, when like school field trips would come up or friends that wanted to go out, their parents were taking them to do things. And I always knew like, damn it, you know, I didn't have money. I couldn't go.
At that age, how did that make you feel?
Definitely lack of confidence in things that I could do, which transpired and grew into my older years, and it took a long time to shed that.
That's what I was gonna say, and that's what I was getting at, man. Because you're like a beast, bro. You're all tatted up. You're in shape, bro. And I could tell you're disciplined. I don't know you personally, but I can tell you're disciplined. I kind of want to know where it started from. You believe it started then?
Yeah, I think it started from me wanting to grow out of my shell, and I didn't know what kind of path I needed to put myself on. I didn't ever have any, like, I've always been looking for like older, like men to follow, mentors. And I never had anyone like that. So I kind of looked up to the muscle-bound movie stars, Arnold Schwarzenegger,
Sylvester
Stallone. And I was always looking through Flex magazine and all these bodybuilders that just, man, they're amazing. I'm like, I want to be like that. And so getting on that road of discipline, of working out, always been into fitness and eating right. And that definitely has carried over to today.
Who were your friends? What type of crowd were you associating with?
I had good friends, never involved in any type of gang or criminal activity as a youngster.
Did you see it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely saw it. I hung out with other kids who were involved in gangs, especially playing football in high school. A lot of them were involved, but I never went down that road. My friends were, I'd say we're just normal kids hanging out, listening to music. We used to listen to a lot of Rage Against the Machine, which I think about now and I laugh at because a lot of the songs are anti-government.
Anti-establishment, 100%, bro.
Yep. And I, you know, when you're a teenager and you're singing along to songs and you're not listening to the words.
Right.
And so I laugh about that now.
Well, it's about being rebellious.
Yeah.
When did you get the idea that you wanted to be a cop or law enforcement officer?
You remember growing up in the 80s and cops, Rescue 911.
I'm from a small town, bro, where our cops sucked. I despised cops. I'm from Brawley, dude. They're fucking assholes in Brawley.
I like Brawley. I've been through there.
Well, I'm talking about Brawley PD, bro.
Oh, yeah.
The city in itself is nice. Well, I say nice, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, they got the Blue Angels out there.
Correct.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a different story for me and cops, different ideologies, I guess. But for you, that's what you were drawn to?
Yeah, so watching the shows, cops especially, growing up watching that and seeing the cops around, like you see them in real life, and they always just seem like superheroes and like just untouchable. As in the fact of like, I wanted to be that, but I could never do that. That wasn't me. I couldn't attain that.
Well, San Bernardino is a big city. I think big city cops have better personalities than small city cops. They don't really trip on the small stuff.
No, because there's too much big stuff going on.
Exactly, bro. Like real crime, not fucking tinted windows and bullshit. So, after high school, did you have a game plan?
I wanted to play football. I was all into football. Wasn't super great, but I was pretty good at running down the field and like crashing into people.
Okay.
So after high school, I went to a local community college and I played 2 years of football there.
Okay.
And it was in my second year, we're playing a community college team out of Arizona. And I broke a disc in my neck between C6, C7 vertebrae.
Damn, bro.
And that really changed a lot for me.
Did that impact you physically?
Oh yeah. I was in a neck brace for about 4 months and I was immobile in bed and I got bed sores. And for anybody who doesn't know what a bed sore is, they're very painful. It's like pockets of pus that form on your back because you just don't move.
Right.
And when I got older and became a deputy and investigated elder abuse cases with bed sores, I knew exactly what that was. And I knew exactly what they were feeling. I could have that empathy because I had them before.
Is that a thing of elder abuse? They refuse to care for them and therefore they develop bed sores?
Yeah, it definitely.
It's like a sign or a symptom.
Yeah. People who are bedridden need to be rotated.
Okay.
From side to back to out of bed to sitting. Mm-hmm. You can't just leave people unattended.
Now, do they do that negligently or purposefully?
It could be both. It depends on what their intent is. If sometimes you have caregivers who are paid caregivers or family members, and people are lazy.
Lazy, huh?
And if they don't care, they won't do their job.
This current agency that you work for now, is that the only agency you've been in the entire time?
For law enforcement, yes. But right before that, in 2002, I worked for a probation department as a probation corrections officer in juvenile hall.
In 2002?
2002.
How old were you then?
21.
Okay. Yeah, I'm horrible at math, bro. I graduated high school in 2002. So you're a youngster, 21.
Yep.
Juvenile hall in the IE, in the Empire?
Yeah.
Were there little gangbangers?
Man, there were little gangbangers. There were little brothers of friends that I went to high school with. But I'll tell you what I really learned there. And there was a couple who's who that were there. And I'll never forget. I'll tell you about two of them. There was a little girl, and she was a cute little thing. And she had killed her elderly neighbor over some cats. And it was like a brutal murder with hammers, hatchets type thing. And I remember seeing her, and there was no violence in her eyes. Like she's just this little kid, but it really lets you know what anybody is capable of
What the hell was the circumstances surrounding the bludgeoning with the hammer?
It was the little girl wanted one of her cats, or I don't remember the entire details of the story, but wanted a cat. The neighbor wouldn't give her a cat, and so when the neighbor was sleeping, the little girl killed her.
And she was there in the juvenile hall that you were working.
Yeah.
Now, when it comes to boys and girls, co-ed, was it mixed? Was it separate compounds? What did it look like?
No, it was separated, the boys from the girls, and typically male COs will work the male side and female COs will work the female side. I ended up on the female side one day when a female CO called in.
Hey, Warriors, if you haven't already signed up for our all-new website, HectorBravoShow.com, make sure you sign up at the link below, HectorBravoShow.com, to watch explicit, uncensored, never-before-seen prison footage. With that, love you. Keep pushing
So
forward.
they needed to replace her. There were no other female COs.
That's weird. That's interesting, bro. That seems like a massive liability, but I hear what you're saying.
And I was doubled up. I was with a female CO.
Oh, okay, doubled up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Damn, dude. Still, oof. I would not want to work in number one, a juvenile hall. Number two, like a female juvenile hall, man.
Yeah, it was interesting, and you learn a lot. You definitely learn that violence, and can come in any form, in any age.
Did you have to go to an academy to be a probation guard?
Yes, yeah, it was a very short one. I would say probably 8 weeks, maybe.
Where?
It was at the facility, and so you learn how all the policies. You learn the big stuff, or the room checks. They don't call them cells; they're rooms.
And what are you taught to look for? Contraband?
You definitely do searches, but really it's to look for signs of, you want to prevent the kids from hurting themselves, from committing suicide. So you look for signs of something that doesn't look right. And so you want to make sure that you protect themselves from themselves.
And these kids do not have access to the public?
Correct.
They're like locked in behind fences, gates, doors?
Oh, yeah.
Do you have any use of force options on you?
We had OC.
Pepper spray?
Yep, pepper spray.
Like the little one or like the MK9?
I don't remember exactly. Probably the little one. I don't remember MK9s.
Did you guys ever have to use it?
I never did.
Was there fights in the juvenile hall?
No.
Why?
It wasn't as like movies and TV really upplay things. And in my experience there, I was there for a year. I don't remember really having any problems at all.
No problems. Everybody's just chilling, posted up.
Pretty chill.
Okay, that's a good thing. It's surprising though, because like you said, TVs and movies show it's off the hook.
Yeah, I'm sure there were fights, but from my recollection, again, we're going back to 2002. I just don't really. I've never had problems with people.
So was there a break in time between that agency and your current agency?
No break. So during that time that I worked at juvenile hall, I was going through the background process with the sheriff's department, and because I wanted to work for the sheriff's department,
right?
And back then, the background process was a long time, about a year, where it's like
That's
3
a
months.
long time,
today.
dude.
Yeah, and so I was just waiting my time.
The entire process was 1 year, or the background investigation portion was 1 year?
The entire process.
Okay.
Yep. So I applied for both agencies at the same time.
Okay.
Instantly got picked up with probation, and then I was just working at juvenile hall waiting to get hired by the sheriff's department.
Okay. Now, when it comes to that, probably back in that time frame, was it one of those things where you have to work the jails first before you can go to the streets?
Yep. Yeah. So left juvenile hall on a Friday, started the academy the following Monday, and you talk about a shell shock. And I had no family in military law enforcement, no one to help prep me. I had no idea what I was getting into. Didn't know how to shine my boots. Didn't know how to iron my uniform. And I mean, I was a soup sandwich.
It's kind of weird because right now you said you had no family member in the military to put you up on game, but neither did I when I went into the military. You know what I mean? It's kind of like I could relate to getting shocked, the shock value. What were some of the things that shocked you? The yelling of the drill sergeants?
I knew there was going to be yelling. I had talked to some other people. So before I got hired with probation, I was a police cadet at a local community college.
Dude, you were doing it all, bro.
Yeah. I mean, my whole adult life, I've been public sector, law enforcement.
That's good.
And so there were old retired LAPD officers that worked at this community college. They were double dipping. And so they would tell us about the academy and about law enforcement and patrol. And so I kind of knew what to expect just from their stories. So the yelling wasn't the shell shock. It was the small details of the shining the boots, the ironing the uniforms, the standing at attention. I remember it took me weeks to figure out how to right face and left face and about face. I mean, if I was not very coordinated, not really a dancer, and it was just everybody falling all over the place, including myself. So, and then how to just, I mean, I've been on teams, football teams, but the team aspect in the academy is completely different. So
Elaborate to a youngster that's played football and is thinking about law enforcement. What is the difference between the teamwork?
So teamwork is, I think, pretty universal, meaning people working together in cooperation toward a common goal. On a sports team, you can have someone who's sloppy, meaning maybe they cut corners, but they can still score goals and points. And it doesn't matter if they're sloppy as long as they're scoring points. So they can be disrespectful. They can be a whole lot of things that are negative, but as long as they're scoring points, then they're on the up and up with that team. In the academy, man, the character matters. You can't be your communal ethics among everyone need to be on point, because you really learn that fishbowl concept. And balancing the studying for the testing, constant testing, right? Post.
Yeah, dude.
And maintaining yourself, maintaining others. Like, I had never used a lint roller ever in my life before the academy. And I get there and everybody's rolling themselves. Got to be crisp, pristine. And so all those little details that maybe some superstars on sports teams lack, that don't matter as long as they're scoring points, all that matters. And so you start to learn the importance of why shiny boots are important, why your crisp uniform is important, why carrying your battle bag in your off-gun hand is important, why your right face and your left face movements are important, why all these small details are so important, and how working together. So you have, you're always going to have slackers on a team. There's always going to be one or two, that guy. And we had that guy in our class, and they would always come in late, like minutes before we were going to start. And so we would strip him down, help him get dressed in his uniform, and always make it just by the skin of our teeth. So you couldn't get by without everybody working together.
Facts. What you just said, man, perfect example, definition, and that mirrors law enforcement. So, like, the example you just gave absolutely mirrors military. Excuse me. It mirrors the military. And they do say law enforcement agencies are paramilitary.
Absolutely.
And it is attention to detail. It's the little things that will get you killed if you don't fucking pay attention.
Yeah.
And you would eventually go on to a tactical unit where you would get to understand that even more. Did you find that academy to be physically tough?
Very.
Really?
I was in good shape going in.
Right.
I've always been in pretty good shape because growing up, I wanted to be like those superstars I saw. And it was, I think physical and mental are really one. I don't see them as separate, because if you are physically strong, you're going to be mentally strong. If you're mentally strong, you're going to be physically strong because you can push through.
I beg to differ. I've met a lot of like meatheads that have quit in them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and there's exceptions,
right,
to every rule, and you're 100% right. I found it physically demanding because my head I wasn't the way that I am now. I wasn't back then.
Physically or mentally?
Mentally.
Okay.
So I had defeat in me because I
100%.
lacked a lot of self-confidence.
I get it, bro. I get it.
And-
It's a building process.
Yeah.
We all just don't wake up like this fucking one day crushing life.
No, not at all.
It's a process. When you got your, what do you get, a badge, a gun? Did you feel proud?
Oh, very
Accomplished?
accomplished. I'll tell you one of the proudest moments on graduation day, getting pinned by Sheriff John McMahon.
Okay.
And he was a sheriff at the time. And getting called up on stage and getting that badge pinned on my chest. And I mean, it felt like every ounce of sweat and stress and suffering that I endured over that 6 months academy.
6 months, dude.
Which was extremely rewarding. I mean, anything that comes easy isn't rewarding.
100%.
But when you sweat and just feel demolished at the conclusion of something, man, you feel accomplished.
Academically, was it challenging for you?
Very. So I had never read a book. So going through school, high school, and we got by on Cliff's Notes.
Right.
And, there was no Google or AI.
Correct.
But read Cliff's Notes and, the public school system. I mean, if you show up on time and attend class, you're going to pass.
Dude, Cliff Notes, you took me back on that, bro. I just remember encyclopedias, Cliff Notes.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so my studying wasn't great. I mean, I always did my work and reports and everything. So like that discipline of getting stuff done, I've always had. So, but the studying crimes against persons, crimes against children, crimes against the environment, property crimes, like learning all this new stuff, plus your penal codes, plus your radio codes, policies. It's just this inundation of so much information and absorbing it and then getting tested with practical applications, plus all the running. And I mean, our academy is dialed in. It sounds
like it.
I'd say exceptional.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
That's a good thing. So 6 months later, you start working in the jail right away?
So, yep, graduate. There was 2 weeks of jail ops. Now it's 6.
That like an orientation?
Yeah. So it's where because the jail policies are, it's not patrol. So you learn all about Title 15, state of California, about those.
Oh, shit. I didn't realize that county uses Title 15.
Yep. And then you got Type 1, Type 2, Type 3, Type 4 jail facilities.
Okay. And
each facility has different state rules about how long an inmate can stay there, like overnight or no longer than a week. Because the jails, our county is massive. So there's a lot of jails and different courts. And so you have main housing hubs, and inmates are constantly being transported. So you got the whole bus transportation system. So you learn all about that in the jail ops class.
Did you see a lot of inmates that would go through like a revolving door?
Absolutely.
You would?
Yep.
Or they would just come back every so often and be like, hey, what up, man?
Well, working in mail intake.
Mail intake.
Working mail intake. So that's where when suspects are arrested on the street by the arresting officer, when they brought to jail, they're booked into jail and have to go through the mail intake process. So that's where as soon as they enter the front door.
Did you work there?
I did.
Did you like bounce around different positions and post?
Yep. Yeah. We would get moved around. So that way you learn the different positions.
Yeah.
And it really adds your subject matter expertise. So in mail intake, though, you could work there just in a week. You could see some of the same frequent flyers coming into the door. And these aren't the violent crimes, of course, because they would stay longer. But you would see your drunken publics, your under the influence of narcotics, DUIs. You would see frequent people coming in routinely.
If you were given the powers of being the governor, would you be able to address that problem of having frequent flyers coming through county jail, or it just is what it is?
That's a complex question. I think I don't think there's any fast solution to it. We have a very good system, but it's not perfect. There's no such thing as any perfect system in the history of man. We do have, our system has its flaws, but I think it's good. And to fix it, I think we need to attack the problem. So for example, if your local public drunkards, the problem is their addiction to alcohol.
Correct.
So
That makes sense.
just by arresting them, and so arresting them is for their own safety. By taking in a public drunk who can't care for themselves, you're saving them from getting hit by a car or putting themselves in some type of danger.
Facts.
So by bringing them in, holding them till they're sober and releasing them saves them for that day, but it doesn't solve the problem.
Right.
And addiction is a massive problem.
Working in the jail, did you come to realize that addiction is a massive problem in Southern California?
Yep.
Why? Because you were seeing so much of it?
So much of it. Very rarely would we see a new arrestee come in who wasn't under the influence of something.
What the heck?
Which tells me and anybody who's ever worked in the male intake is that drugs and alcohol are a problem.
Here's a fun fact. I've been to jail 3 times. All 3 times I was under the influence of alcohol. Fun fact. But I wonder if that has to do with Southern California and the border being right here with Mexico, being able to push the dope that quick into the United States.
Could be. I think proximity does play a part.
How long did you stay in the jails?
I was there for 1.5 years. So from June of 2003 till December of 2004.
Were you familiarizing yourself with gangs while you were working inside the jail?
Yep. It was working the jails is the equivalent to, attending a law enforcement university. So you're there and you take a young guy like myself who I didn't run with gangs and I never used drugs. I wasn't involved in criminal activity, but I learned real quick about what people look like when they're under the influence of meth or heroin, and those people look different. Alcohol, you see what violence looks like in people's eyes, cold-blooded killers. And when I was there was really some very high-profile inmates there. And
Gang affiliated?
Gang affiliated. Not all of them, but most of them. And learning that respect, mutual human respect between people. I remember thinking to myself, man, like, how does this work? Like, I'm just 22 years old, and now I'm dealing with this violent,
sophisticated
criminal. And you figure it out. You learn about that mutual respect and what they're entitled to, and you don't mess with people.
Yeah. You don't mess with people. Is that something you had to figure out, learn the hard way, just kind of gather by just learning, observing?
I've always had a natural respect for people.
Okay.
That's not my demeanor. I don't mess with people because I don't like to be messed with.
Right.
But I would see some other deputies play games, and it didn't work out too well. For example, when you have someone who's already sentenced to life or looking at all day, they have nothing to lose.
Correct.
They're not going anywhere. So if they don't want to hand their tray back to you through the tray door, it's a problem. I never had problems with any of the inmates getting metal trays back, cuffing up. A lot of the high security ones, they have to cuff up to the rear to bring them out to the rec yard or bring them to the nurse's station. Some of the other deputies would. And it could be little things like if they ask for toilet paper, I give them toilet paper. If on their special diet food tray, if they were missing, let's say they got double peanut butter packets and there's only one on there, I'd give another packet.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of have to.
Yeah, it's
right.
It's not a big deal.
Correct.
If they wanted a complaint form,
yeah,
I'd get them a complaint form.
Yeah,
not a big deal.
Right. Earlier you mentioned a lot of characteristics, and you mentioned high-profile inmates. Did you notice a direct correlation between the violent inmates and the high-profile inmates? Could you tell that they were violent or capable of being violent?
Oh, absolutely. You could see it in their face. I mean, we would know what their charges were. And
Please walk the audience through maybe a new officer that has no idea what signs to look for. Just starting off when you said you would see their commitment offense.
so starting off looking at their cell, and anybody who's ever worked in corrections will know that your hardcore guys, their cells are immaculate. It's like straight military boot camp style. The bedrolls, the beds are rolled up, the sheets are folded, their uniforms or their jumpsuits are crisp and creased. They have chronos for white tennis shoes, and they don't have bleach in there, but they keep those shoes pristine, clean, and white. A lot of very high self-respect and very respectful, where your less sophisticated, lower level criminals like your youngsters, much more difficult to deal with, having something to prove, where your higher security guys, they've already proved what they wanted to prove.
Through acts of violence.
Yep.
Did you ever learn anything from them? I mean, them not directly teaching you, but I mean, from your observations, did you learn how to maneuver?
Not so much maneuver, but I used to watch them like they would watch us, and I'd watch them.
100%.
And what I noticed about them was how disciplined they were. So I respect discipline.
Me too.
And routine, and not their acts, but their daily routine.
Right.
And so they would keep track of the time by watching us walk our logs. And so we'd walk logs about every 50 minutes, because that'd be done every 60, if I remember correctly. So we do it about every 10 minutes ahead of time, just to make sure that we're on time. And whenever we'd pass, their routine would be to either drop and do burpees, push-ups, air squats, and all day long in their cell and maintain themselves. And physical fitness is so important, because they knew that the physical, strong body, strong mind, and that's how you keep from letting that place eat you up.
That, and it's beneficial for them to do burpees so they can jump up in the middle of a riot, like
Yep.
we see them do. Speaking of riots, did you observe any violence in that jail time frame?
100%.
Oh, you did?
Yep.
Kind of threw me off, because you said in the juvenile hall you did not, and here in the jail you did. Like, what kind of violent acts did you see?
When it happens so fast. So we'd be in the housing units, especially in the dorms. So in the dorms, you have, let's say, 6 separate segments. So imagine like a pizza, and the pizza has slices, so like 6 slices. And you'd have bunk beds on the bottom floor tier and bunk beds on the top tier. Maybe 100 inmates total per segment.
Mixed races, mixed gangs, or isolated?
For mainline, mixed.
So you're talking about dorms with mixed gangs.
Yep.
Okay.
And now I was never classification, so I didn't house inmates. I worked back in the blocks and in mail intake. So I can't comment on what gangs but
right.
So you could be in a housing unit, maybe in the bubble, control booth, and everything would be code 4, quiet, TV's on, people on the telephones, people reading the newspaper. They had newspapers back then. I don't know if they still do. And then all of a sudden, boom, it would pop off. And you'd have your inmates that are fighting, and then you have the ones that weren't involved, and they'd step off to the side and watch. But it happens so fast, it's like a car accident where traffic is flowing just fine, and all of a sudden, cars start crashing into each other.
Was there ever any major riots in those dorms?
Yeah, it'd be a full riot, full 415, 20 or 30 inmates fighting.
That's fucking interesting, bro. Because I would imagine a riot in jail would be different than a riot in prison. But I mean, essentially, they're kind of the same thing. Motherfuckers fighting.
Yeah.
But it just seems more wilder in a jail setting. What kind of shit can you do to stop them in a jail setting?
Use the less lethal options you have available to you. So pepper spray, they have pepper ball launchers now, beanbag shotguns. If weapons are being used, you want to stop people from getting stabbed.
I guess here, walk me through this, because I guess in a prison riot, you will be in the same area as the inmates fighting. In every jail video I've seen, the deputies are behind the door, behind something. Is that protocol?
That's the way that, in my experience with our facilities, yes. So it's you have the segments, and the deputies will enter the segment to walk their logs once an hour. But other than that, they're not in the segments.
So they're probably just using that barrier as safety and just gassing the shit out of the inmates.
Yep.
And eventually, do they comply?
Yes.
In the jail setting, do they utilize weapons during these riots?
Absolutely.
Like what kind of weapons?
Edged weapons. So you have like your tomahawks.
Oh, you actually do have those.
I saw more tomahawks than I did like shanks.
Right.
Because they're just easier to make because everybody has razors.
True.
And toothbrushes. But I did see some, but definitely any type of sharp edged weapon that they can get.
I would imagine it was just lock in a sock type of shit, soap in a sock.
Probably.
Batteries, Now, in a riot like this, in a dorm setting back in the day, did the inmates get moved to some type of restrictive housing, isolation?
They called it administrative segregation back then, ADSEG. Yeah. I don't know if they still have that, though, with the change in the laws.
And does the ADSEG lockup unit look different than a regular housing unit?
Yep. So the ADSEG would be a set of 4 cells together, separated from the main housing unit. And there'd be all in a line, and then there'd be a shower that was in the hallway that connected the 4 cells. And no TV. There would be a telephone that, depending on what their situation was, they would have access to or not.
What were the doors made out of? Perforated, like holes, or like solid doors with the windows?
Yeah, so solid metal doors with the windows and then a tray door. And so a tray door was for food or for having their hands come through to cuff up.
In the jail setting, did you guys ever have to do cell extractions?
Yes.
Did you ever participate in one?
I did.
What would be a circumstance that the inmate in jail would need to be extracted?
If eventually they have to come out, either for...
Right.
So things have changed since I was there.
I bet, bro.
And
now you give them a cookie and a hand job and a television and tell them you're sorry for bothering them.
And as long as it's a good cookie, man, then they'll come out.
I'm sorry I disturbed you, Mr. Inmate. It won't happen again, buddy.
Oh, I'll tell you one of the extractions that we did. So there was an inmate that had spit in the face of a deputy, which is an assault. So they were put in ADSEG, and we let them out for a shower. This was a couple days later, and they wouldn't lock it back down into their cell. Well, there were other inmates in ADSEG who had to come out and get their shower.
Correct.
But you can't mix them. So we go through the de-escalation process, which didn't work. It was futile.
Yeah.
And eventually you have to take action. So it wasn't right away. We tried to talk them into going back in cell and locking up, but this person wouldn't. So we made entry in there as they call it the SRT team, the special response team, and wearing protective gear and have a shield and using pepper spray, less lethal options. And it was effective. And so we got them to lock back up.
Now, you just stated that you guys attempted to verbally communicate with the individual to get them to comply. What advice do you have for brand new correctional officers when it comes to verbal communication? How important is verbal communication over strictly using force right off the top?
It's everything. So on top of that, it's very important to realize the situation that you're in. So if you are in some type of imminent situation, you got to feel it. On the back of your neck, if you feel like, man, this is going to go bad, I'm going to get hurt, then you need to respond to that accordingly. But if it's not that type of situation, then, and if you don't have to go hands-on, if you don't have to go to different less lethal options, weapon options, then talk to people. And what I have found through my career is that if you just talk to people like a normal human being and you treat them with respect, again, it's not our job to judge people for why they're locked up, or judge people when we're out on the street on patrol for what they're being accused of. And put that aside and talk to them like you would talk to a family member or to a friend. And just, hey, brother, can I get you to do this for me, please? They'll do it. Now you have some people that they're committed to whatever their cause is.
100%.
And you can't, there's nothing you can do to convince them to go with the program. But those are so few and far between. I'll tell you on SWAT calls with barricades, when you have someone who's wanted for a violent crime and they're barricaded in front of their house or inside their house, there are times where nobody has ever asked them to come out. And if you call them on their cell phone and you just talk to them and say, hey, this is why we're here. We have a search warrant for the house. We have an arrest warrant for you. We're not going to leave. Will you come out and surrender?
Now, is that the job of a
sometimes they do.
hostage negotiator or just a regular SWAT operator?
It could be anybody.
Anybody.
It could be the patrol officers who are
Okay.
there first. They can ask. It can be the SWAT guys. When they get there, they can ask. It can be a crisis negotiator. They can ask. But one of the questions that is asked is, hey, has anybody even asked this guy if he's willing to come out? And just goes to show that if you just talk to people, just talk to them normal, give them that respect. Don't judge them for whatever the reason is. And a lot of people, most people comply.
My experience tells me the same thing, man. I had a fairly easy, decent, great career, man, because I was able to communicate and articulate, especially towards the end of my career when you develop those skills. Would you say that communication skills, you kind of have to build up and learn them?
Oh, yeah. I don't think you're not born knowing how to communicate with people, but I'll tell you, working inside of a jail or a prison with people who have nothing to lose, they have nothing to lose, and they could hurt you or kill you at any time. And I would feel that walking my logs through those dorms, one deputy against 100 inmates, they're allowing me to walk through that dorm. They're letting me do my job. And you feel that respect that when you walk by, you just tell people, hey, what's up?
Would a person with a Billy badass, bad attitude, a deputy in there, would it not be beneficial for him walking around with a chip on your shoulder, thinking that you can take on 100 guys? Would that end bad?
Yeah, and those people exist in every industry.
Correct.
In every type of job. And they have a rough time because there's always somebody bigger, badder, tougher than you.
Facts.
And having an empathetic, humble heart, and you let people know that you're here for a job, you care about what you're doing. If they need something, you will help them, but you got nothing to prove. I'm not badder than anybody else.
Right. No, I like that, man. That experience seemed like it helped you tremendously going over to patrol. Would you eventually go to patrol?
Yep.
Are you put on some type of like field training, FTX portion?
Yep. So year and a half in the jails. And then I went on to work about 13 years of patrol.
Jesus.
Between 5 stations.
Between 5 stations.
5 stations. And so with that, you start out, it's called the field training program, and you have an FTO, field training officer. So it's about 4 months long.
So are you on probation while you're in the jail?
Yes.
And are you restart probation when you're out on patrol?
Not job security type probation. So when you get hired at the sheriff's department, you have a year and a half of probation.
Okay.
Your first 6 months are in the academy. Then your next year is after the academy.
That's cool.
And then so for me, by the time I hit patrol, I was off probation. But per se, yes, you're kind of on a probation for if you don't pass your field training, then you'll get recycled back to the jail.
That seems fucking fair enough to me.
Yep.
At least you're not asked out of a job, but you just go back to the jail.
Right. Very fortunate with the sheriff's department that there's other options if you can't hack it on patrol or you don't want to do patrol.
Are there individuals that go out to patrol and just realize, this isn't for me, I'd rather go back to the jail?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. There's deputies that don't ever, they'll spend 20 plus years in the jail or in the courts, who bailiffs, or doing other assignments other than patrol, which is fine. Law enforcement is such a diverse workforce that every type of person is needed for every type of job.
Facts.
And like, I didn't want to stay in the jail. So if someone else wants to stay there and that gives me an opportunity to leave, then that's cool. Same thing you think about like specialized detectives for crimes against children. I don't ever want to work that. But
Correct.
there are very special, loving detectives that want to work that.
And God bless them, man.
Yes. And so let them do it.
Correct.
And so just every walk of life, and that's the power of a diverse team, because we're all different. We think differently. We come from different backgrounds, different cultures, and we're in this job for different reasons, but same mission, the mission to help people preserve life, preserve property, and give the people of the communities a safe, secure environment. But there's different things that we want to contribute. And crimes against children is not one of them. Working in the jails is not one of them for me. Working in the courts is not one of them for me. So it depends on what you want.
But patrol was for you.
Absolutely.
Is for you. Why? What kind of stuff? Like, how long are the shifts? How many hours?
12s.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, long shifts.
Dude, how many days? What does the schedule look like?
So they call it a 312, but really what it is, so 2-week pay period. So in a 2-week pay period, you'll work 4 12-hour shifts. So 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. or 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. And then the next week you'll work 2 12s and an 8. So all those hours combined make 40 hours. And but your 8-hour day could be somewhere mixed in between your 7 other 12-hour shifts. So yeah, if not much is going on, it can be a long shift. But if it's popping, like in the summertime in San Bernardino, High Desert, Victorville, other areas where you've got some shootings going on or massive parties, other things, and your shift can fly by. So it just really depends on what's going on, but then your attitude about it. Also, if you aren't, if you're not too motivated, and there's different walks of life,
right?
Then your shifts can be boring. But if you're getting out there and you're being proactive and reactive, and you're taking extra steps to make contact with kids out on the street and stop and talk, or stop at like a skateboard park, I mean, you can have a lot of fun, really positively influence a lot of people.
Prior to you, last week I interviewed a former LAPD officer, and we were talking about how much paperwork and computer files goes into that. How much paperwork goes into those 12-hour shifts plus busy nights, like you said?
Man, a lot of paperwork. And it's all necessary, because documentation is so important, because if it's not documented, then it never happened. And reports, we take reports to document, so like an incident report where there's no crime, to crime reports. And some of these reports I've seen, they come back years and years later.
100%, bro.
Years later. And those are the times you're like, man, I'm glad I took a report. Because sometimes when you go to, there's a lot of calls where like nothing's, like there's no crimes, like not a lot's going on, but something is telling you, maybe I should pull a report number and at least do like half a page, something. And those are the times where you're like, man, I'm glad I did, because reports come back in lawsuits.
I feel you, bro. Could you please give advice to the young officers, whether they be patrol or corrections, and elaborate more on, hey, fucking 5 years from now, 7 years from now, you just might need a report that you better hope you wrote.
Yeah, no doubt. So I'll give you an example. There was a domestic violence call that I went to one night, and arrested one of the boyfriend, girlfriend, one of them. And it was years later, and it was just a regular domestic. And when I say regular, it's because domestic violence is so prevalent. You go to a lot of those, usually alcohol involved.
With a Latino woman? I'm starting to see a pattern here, but yeah, go ahead.
So I get a call from the state Department of Justice, the DOJ, and they're asking me now with this couple, they had a very specific last name, just one of those that I'd never heard of before.
Okay.
And I remember I mispronounced it, and the female corrected me on how to pronounce it, and I just remember that. And so here are years later, I get a phone call from an investigator from DOJ, and they're asking me about this, and they tell me her last name, and I remembered it. And they said, hey, can you tell us about this? So I'm telling them about it, and I ask them, well, what's this about? And well, she had applied for a medical license to be a home in-health like nurse. And she had put on her resume or the job hiring packet that she had never been involved in any domestic violence, because that would have been disqualifying criteria. And so that's what it was about. So they're asking me about that. So you never know when things are going to come back, and they do quite often.
But it could be a lot worse than that, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like somebody could have got murdered in the future, right? And be like, hey, do you have any documentation that you guys spoke in the past?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there was, back in the day, you used to get arrested for marijuana. And there was a vehicle code, 23222B, that was, if you're a driver of a vehicle in possession of marijuana, it was bookable. And so I had arrested and booked this one guy one time. And later on down the road, I got a call from our homicide detectives that he was a homicide suspect, and they wanted me to tell them about the vehicle he was in, because that was the vehicle he was driving when he committed the homicide. So little things
Facts.
constantly equal big things.
Dude, yeah, we were just talking about that earlier, of why they drill that to you in the academy.
Yeah.
What are some things in a daily life that a person could do, right? Because that's just a job, but to be disciplined at home, read books, work out, eat healthy. What are some things that a person may do?
I think routines. So routines are very important. We are creatures of routine. And when humans don't have a routine, they fall out of whack. And that's when you start abusing different things, whether it's drugs or food, pornography, anything that's going to get you down a road that you don't want to go. So routine at home that can really help people. And I'll give you my routine. I get up at 3 a.m. I get up at 3 a.m. because I need to get my workout before I go to work. And I get my steps in. I do my weightlifting, lift heavy weights, shower, shave, and I eat my meals at the same time every day.
Right.
So consistency, and you get your body in alignment with itself. So if you're eating different foods at different times, greasy food, fast food, processed food, you're overeating, taking in bad calories, and you don't feel good, you feel bloated. Man,
Facts.
get yourself on a good fitness and nutrition routine, and man, you will change your life.
Would you agree to stick kind of to our primal ways, what we were designed for?
Yeah, we're
To hunt, provide, protect, like
Yes.
a caveman.
yeah, and eating natural foods. I mean, yeah, I love a good cheeseburger.
Right.
Absolutely. But those are few and far between.
Facts.
It's not every day. And if I have one, I go to a good restaurant where it's real meat, not processed meat, not fake meat, real cheese.
So you did your time in the jail. You did your time in patrol. You were squared away. What point did SWAT grab your attention? Were you watching these badasses walk around? Was there a bulletin on a flyer?
Man, at the point when I stopped feeling challenged on patrol,
Sounds about right, bro.
and I was looking for more, because you're either always looking for more,
Right.
or you're not. And we all know people who aren't, because they're happy playing Nintendo, eating a frozen pizza
Yeah.
on the couch, and I'm good. But like, I love patrol. Patrol was great. Really had the opportunity to impact lives and help people. But after so many years, it's just kind of, it loses interest. It kind of becomes routine. And I was looking for more. And I had friends that were on our SWAT team. And it's a full-time team. It's an incredible team.
Full-time. Would they also have like a part-time team, or it's all full-time?
Yep, there's also part-time. So a part-time team known as perimeter containment team, which is an awesome opportunity. So being on a part-time team, that means you're on patrol.
Right.
And then you're on call. So you have all the SWAT equipment. And when there's a SWAT call, you get to respond to it. So you get the best of both worlds. And they didn't have the part-time team back then when I...
so they did not have that.
Did not.
So it was a full-time SWAT team.
Yep.
I want to know this answer. Are you training consistently?
Consistently. So training, depending on your specialty. So as a full division, training every single Tuesday and then every other Wednesday. So that's 6 days a month, which is a lot, just as a full team.
Oh, shit.
But that's not counting if you're on a long rifle team,
Right.
then that's every other week. So
Right.
that's 2 more days a month. If you're a medic, if you're a rope specialist, if you're a chemical agent, if you're a canine, we have full-time canine apprehension dogs. They're training 30 hours a month just in canines. So if you combine the SWAT training with the specialized training, you have some guys that are training Monday through Friday.
100%, bro. K9, EMT, and fucking SWAT.
Yeah.
You're there. How do they fly a open vacancy?
So open vacancies come up when people typically promote out of
Interesting.
SWAT. So when they promote out now, they take someone from the part-time team and they bring them over. So it's a great process. So how the process works is you go through a selection process to be selected to go to SWAT school. So SWAT school is a California certified 3-week course, and it's rough, very challenging. It'll break you. And it's meant to do that because it makes you know how special it is to be on that team. And you learn all the specialties. It's a very good 3-week school. So you got to get selected just to go to this school. Then you have to get selected to go to the part-time team, and then selected to go to the full-time team. And those full-time spots open up when someone promotes or transfers out.
But when you went through it, what was the process?
The process was to put your name on the transfer list for transfer request. And then I was transferred over, and I had several months before I went through SWAT school. So I'd say I was pretty lucky.
But did you have a selection?
Yes. Yeah, I'm sorry. You had to go through selection. And so the selection is a 3-part system. So it's the pistol shooting qualification. It's a PT qualification, which if you're not ready for it, will break you. So you're wearing a 20-pound vest, and you're doing squats, pull-ups, release hand push-ups, running 400 meters, and you repeat this process, and you got to get it done in under 11 minutes, 30 seconds. So if you're not in shape, you're not going to pass it. And then the third part is an interview. And so with that interview, it depends on who's interviewing you. They'll give you questions about, hey, how would you handle this? Hypotheticals. How do you handle this situation? Really, what's your family situation like? Because being on call,
Right.
when the call out comes out, no matter what you're doing with your family or with friends or in the middle of the night sleeping, you have to go. Like,
I
are
didn't
you
even
okay
think
with
about that. That's crazy.
And so one of the things that when I was conducting those interviews, I would ask people who had kids, little kids, hey, what is your plan? So if you're watching the kids, you're at home by yourself and you get called out, what are you going to do with your kids? And so most people would have a plan. Oh, well, my in-laws live nearby.
Okay.
Or I have family or friends that I've already discussed this with that I could drop them off. And so the policy with responding is that you can't be any further than 1 hour from, if you're stationed in the valley, 1 hour from the valley office or 1 hour from the desert office. So you got to be pretty close by.
Was it was the selection different than the SWAT school as far as the physical smoking? Like, did they have you go through like an obstacle course or make you do flutter kicks?
Not for selection.
Not for selection.
Not for selection. Selection was the shooting pistol
The
qualification.
cut and dry. Here's your
Yep.
standards. Either you meet the freaking standards or you do not.
Yep. You can either pass this qual or
Okay.
you can't. You can either pass the PT qual or you can't.
Okay.
And what's your resume look like? So you bring your resume to the interview.
Okay. Now this is where it gets juicy, man. The SWAT school, was there other agencies also putting candidates through it?
Oh, yeah.
There was?
Yes. So you would have, because it's a California certified course, 3 weeks, you would get agencies from up and down California, even as far north as Santa Rosa. You would even get active duty military guys. We'd get Marines in there routinely. And then federal agents, U.S. Marshals would come through. So you would get a very diverse class, sometimes of maybe 7 to 10 different agencies. We even had BORTAC come through.
Damn,
Oh,
dude.
yeah.
Damn.
That's a bad dude.
For sure, 100%. Now, is this SWAT, Special Weapons and Tactics?
Yes. Oh, even CDCR would come through with their MP5s.
We have the crisis response team, the CRT Academy in SLO or Camp Roberts, but also we would have other agencies come through and like foreign Norwegian or Finland Air Force or whatever like that.
Oh, cool.
United States Air Force and people all over. So it's a mixture. Now, do they teach you hostage rescue in that course?
Yes, there's hostage rescue.
There is. Because from my gathering, there's not too many agencies that teach hostage rescue. It's very selective, few in between.
Not too many agencies have the capabilities and manpower to effect a hostage rescue. So they typically have to call in a bigger agency that can handle that. They call them a tier 1 team. And that means that you have the manpower, the resources,
Right.
the capabilities of training to do something like that.
Right. No, it's high-speed training. It's fucking awesome, bro.
Yeah.
At the time, I liked the tempo, right? Because the tempo was a lot higher. But I'm an old man now, and I can't move so fucking
Yeah,
fast.
I think you're full of plenty of piss and vinegar.
So would you say that SWAT school was physically demanding?
Very, very. So you're in full kit. So full kit means helmet, heavy vest, rifle.
Is this the old school shit we're talking about too?
When I went through, yeah.
Right, not like this cool little micro plate carrier and
We had 8-pound plates.
100%,
So
bro.
that's 16 pounds in just plates. But yeah, no, now it's you have lighter weight gear that flexes and moves with your body. It's not all stiff.
Not like a big ass box that you fucking.
Yep.
Bro, did you feel high speed when you were going through all that training?
No, I felt beat down.
100%.
Man, it was, so you're in full kit all day, double time everywhere. Push-ups in, push-ups out, meaning that whatever iteration of training you're doing, whenever you took a break, you had to stop, knock out push-ups. Usually it was like 20 to 30, and then take your break. And then 20 to 30 push-ups again to go back into the iteration. And this is all day long. Thousands of push-ups all day long.
Now, was the motive to break you and weed out the weak, or was it to train you up, become an operator?
No, everything is for a specific reason. And as a student, it's hard to believe that sometimes. It's hard to think, man, these guys are just torturing us.
Correct.
But it's not. I'll tell you, it gets you ready for the real life perseverance and just unbreakable spirit that you need to have. There was a shooting that happened on the freeway. So there was a couple, boyfriend, girlfriend. They were southbound on the 15 freeway from Vegas one night, high-speed pursuit with CHP, and they're shooting an AK-47 at the CHP officer. The suspects ended up driving off the freeway into a culvert in the middle of the freeway, and CHP set up containment, and they called our SWAT team out to handle this problem. And so we had an armored rescue vehicle, also known as a Bearcat, that we pulled up to this vehicle, and they were gone. So this happened in the middle of the night. So the officers didn't see this couple walk off into the desert. So we dismounted from the rescue vehicle, full gear, backpacks full of water, and water is heavy, and snacks, because you have no idea how long you're going to be out there. And we hiked through the desert, the soft sand. So it's one thing to hike around and wait. It's another thing to do it in soft sand.
Fuck, dude.
I'm telling you, for like 13 hours.
No way, bro.
Oh, yeah. No, this was in the early morning because the sun just came up.
Was this summertime?
No, it was cold. It was cold. I don't remember what
You were
month.
on that call?
I was on that call.
That sucks, dude.
And-
like, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. So the sun just came up, and we're hiking around through the soft sand trying to follow the tracks. And so we'd find the tracks, we'd lose the tracks because they're leaving tracks in the soft sand. We had a tracking canine with us, but it's windy. And so the wind can affect the tracking dogs because it carries the skin cells away, the scent. All day, from morning, because the sun just rose, until about the setting sun time. All day, hips are killing you, your shoulders are killing you. And it was just miserable, but it was fun because you're with your guys and you're doing the thing that you want to do. And sometimes things don't have to be fun. But the point is that as miserable as that was, because it was cold and everything is heavy and your feet hurt from walking in the sand, your back hurts, everything, it all starts in SWAT school.
Facts.
So that carries you over. And something else in SWAT school they have is that there's a fun competition where you have to push this Bearcat, which is a heavy vehicle. It's like 25,000 pounds. And that's also for a reason, because sometimes they break down or they get stuck in the mud because they're so heavy. And yes, in real life, on real call outs, after everything's done, you have to push a Bearcat sinking out of the wet grass. So everything is for a reason. And it's hard to believe that while you're going through it. But later on, as time goes by, you think about it and you're like, all right, I get that.
It's definitely not fun walking around the desert with all that gear, bro. But it's definitely memorable.
Yes.
Definitely memorable, bro. And that builds character. You know, I think about all the cold fucking nights in Germany, sleeping in the frozen snow. And yeah, all that sucked, bro. It fucking sucked.
And when we're doing that with your team.
Right,
with
because
your
it builds
buddies,
camaraderie, brotherhood.
Yeah.
Strictly brotherhood, bro. Because you're experiencing the suck together.
Yeah. And that's something that have, like, you and I, we have never met before.
Correct.
But sitting here, we have been through so many of the similar situations. Right. We've had so many similar experiences, and we've dealt with the strife and the stress and the struggle, and we know what it's like to be scared. We know what it's like to be emotional and that roller coaster ride. And like that really binds us, even though we've never even worked together.
As you bring that up, man, that makes me comfortable around you, because I'm like, dude, no matter what, this dude has my back, right?
Yeah.
I don't know you personally, but I'm like, hey, if anything happens, I know the motherfucker has my back. So yeah, dude, it's very easy going to know that, easy feeling. What other call outs do you recall where you spent long hours out there doing your thing?
So we had a hostage rescue situation in one of our high desert communities one day, and it was at the end of the day. So we're talking like 4 p.m., 5 p.m. it came out. So everybody's up at 3 or 4 a.m. and we go about, we have our day, we're getting ready to go home, and this call out comes out. And so it's about an hour drive to this community.
Damn.
And it was a boyfriend-girlfriend domestic violence call that started it. He had found out that she had been cheating on him. So he was holding her at gunpoint inside the house. And our crisis negotiators were on the phone with him off and on for hours and hours. And with hostage rescues, you always need to be ready for a crisis response. And typically that would be like shots fired. And you need to get in there and do what you do. Also a calculated rescue when the time comes. Eventually this has to come to an end at some point in time. But negotiations were going, and hours went by. So many hours went by that we're into the next day now.
Damn.
And we were getting ready to coordinate a handoff with another full-time SWAT team. So they were going to come in and replace us so we could go home and go to sleep. And as that was being coordinated, because that's not a simple act, like that takes hours to get replaced. He started shooting, and we went in for this rescue. And ultimately, he didn't make it out of that. The female was hit multiple times by the suspect. And our medics did such an amazing job. Our medics had her wrapped up in gauze and tourniquets and everything that they used. and she was airlifted in flight. I'm going to say within in under 10 minutes, like maybe even less. She was airborne, straight to the hospital, had a full recovery.
Saved.
Dude,
you guys did your job. Like, that's like heroic.
It was, I'll never forget that. It was such a long day, and it was freezing cold at night. The high desert gets very cold, but everybody working together. We talk about teamwork, and everybody has a role and something like that. It was 2 entry points. So my team made entry on the back side of the house, known as the number 3 side, because every side is numbered. And then another team made entry on the number 4 side. So dual entries, which are, they can be dangerous. You could have, there's a risk of fratricide. So everybody needs to know their point of how far they're gonna go into the house. So we're not pointing guns at each other, and what areas you're gonna dominate. What is your job?
Were you guys staged already, and once the firing started, that was your cue to go?
Yes.
No way, dude.
Yeah.
Fuck. That's fucking wild.
Yeah.
Damn, bro. As a young kid, right? You watch these movies, and you watch them too, and you idolize it, and you glorify this type of behavior. Is it a glorification when you're in there and you're actually putting rounds down range and you're getting rounds shot back at you?
No, you're thinking about how are we going to get out of this and make everything okay. Not think, at least for me, is that, hey, this is a bad situation. There's lives at stake, and how are we going to fix this?
That's the maturity level, and that's the reality of fucked up situations like that.
Yeah.
In your time in patrol and in SWAT, did you encounter a lot of what the worst the world has to offer?
A lot of death and destruction.
A lot of death and destruction.
And not just SWAT, I mean, just on patrol.
At the hands of other people, or like accidents? What are we talking about here?
Both. I'll tell you, car accidents are some of the worst things that you can see, because we're just made of water, and people just fall apart, like limbs, they just come apart, and there's faces that just I can't let go, like they're imprinted in me, like different scenes of getting to some bad car accidents. But same thing with homicides. There was a double body dump one day when I was working, and these 2 victims, that they were killed and then they were set on fire. And so, like, I can still see them in this field, like what it looked like when I got there.
What did it look like?
They don't look human. It looks like 2 mannequins.
Black, charred.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what condition were they? Were they smoldering? Were there smoke still coming out, or they were just done?
Oh, yeah, no, it was still fresh. It was a fresh fire. And so they were dumped, set on fire, and then a person called and said, hey, there's a fire in the field.
Wow.
And then
they said there's a fucking fire in the field.
Right.
So what are you responding to? A fire in the field?
A fire in the field.
And then what happened, dude?
And then you get there and there's 2 dudes on fire.
No, what? No fucking way, bro.
Yeah.
And that was you were the responding officer to that?
One of them. I mean,
one of them.
It's something like that. Everybody on the shift is going to roll to that.
Right. And then you realize what you have on hand, and it's like, okay, fuck, is this a normal day in the office?
Yeah.
No.
You see, every single call that a patrol officer responds to is an unknown problem, because you have no idea what you're going to get there. You have an idea of what you're being sent to, but it's quite often that it's completely different. For example, an officer could be sent to like a landlord-tenant dispute.
Okay.
Which is a very low priority, and that happens all the time. That's where you'll have excuse me, you'll have someone who's not paying their rent,
squatters and whatnot,
squatters, whatever, and you could get there and find a body, or you could get to this call and it's just completely different. There was a church. I was taking a burglary call at a church one night, and this church had been broken into, and all their audio video equipment was stolen. So while I'm at the church outside in the parking lot getting information from the reporting party, right across the street, a car comes screeching down the road, slams on its brakes. I see these guys jump out of the car, they unload this body, drop the body, get back in the car, and take off. And so, all right, no surprise, because you have to expect this kind of stuff so you're not surprised about it. So I go across the street, and this guy, his throat had been slit. And so I call paramedics, initiate a report, and it's just, that's another call.
Dude, there's no way in hell, bro. Like, I don't know, it's because I'm old man now and squirmish and I don't have the heart or stomach for it anymore. Would you say this is a young man's game?
I'd say it's...
Because it's not for the faint of heart.
Being young definitely helps, especially working shift work. Like, it going back and forth from day shift to night shift. It's a game for someone who wants to be impactful and likes adrenaline and is prepared, likes to go to the unexpected. Someone who is okay with not knowing what they're responding to.
But that's a double-edged sword, though, because there's a high suicide rate in law enforcement agencies. There's a high substance abuse in law enforcement officials. There's a high domestic violence rate. And I'm not a rocket scientist, but I could almost directly correlate the two.
Yeah. These, I think some of your, I don't know if you want to call them your best cops, depending on what your viewpoint of that means, but they definitely have internal struggles because it's hard to turn it off. That's something you develop over years. Turning it on, meaning putting on your work hat, turning it on, being ready to go, being hyper vigilant. It's exhausting. Head on a swivel. Everything that we're trained to do to survive years on the streets. And then you go home and it's just peace and quiet, maybe, or maybe not. But it's not what it is on the streets. And it's for some individuals, it's tough to take that work hat off and turn it off and have peace, because they survive on that rush.
I'm so glad we're having this conversation, dude, because a few years back, there was a huge movement on TV. May or may not have been a 3-letter movement. The whole defund the police, the whole ACAB, all cops are bastards, the whole fuck the police movement. And the mindset was fuck all cops are bad, all cops are like Nazi fucking Germans, man. But from what I've heard from you is you're a hardworking man that fucking prides himself in the job and in the duties, and you have to respond to the most horrific fucking calls I've ever heard, dude. What do you have to say to those people that have maybe been misconstrued?
I'd say that influences from social media or the big media, it's worth getting different points of view. And we value diversification. We value diversity on teams. We value diversity in thought because we want to avoid groupthink.
Facts.
Because we know how valuable it is to have different people put in their input, get their opinions, their ideas. And in that same manner, it's important to take in different information. And I'll tell you from my experience, your absolute highest percentage of cops, of course there's bad apples, but for the most part, they are in this for the same mission. And that mission is to protect people and have a safe, secure community, because they have kids too. They have families too. And cops know that people are people, meaning that whether they're locked up, they're your family, they're having the worst day of their life, they're still a person. They still have parents. They have people who love them. And they know that they're there for a reason, to make things better. And it's tough sometimes when you have people out there that don't want to see that side.
Right. I want you to give tips from your experience, man, and mindset, okay? You're a cop out on patrol. You pull a car over. You, being super experienced, I want you to talk about the mindset of why it's important, what steps you would take, as opposed to a brand new rookie, bro, that doesn't understand the signs, what to look for. Can you walk us through the differences of what will probably keep your probability of survival higher?
Yeah, absolutely. So traffic stops inherently can be dangerous. Inherently meaning by the very nature, because you have no idea who's in that car. And things that I would look for is first the windows. Can I see through the windows? And then I would see how the person pulled off the side of the road. Are they all the way off? Like, are they committed? Like, hey, I'm going to stop. Or are they halfway off? Like, if they wanted to take off, they could take off very easily. I look at the if they put their hands out the window. OGs will put their hands out the window. And I look at how many people are inside the car. And these are things that I'm measuring up the car as I'm walking up to it. So this is happening in seconds. And as I walk up, I look at, are they looking back at me? Can they see me in their mirrors? Are they turning their head over their shoulder? When I'm looking through the window, and I approach very slowly, because if they're going to take off, let them take off. I'll just run back to my car and chase after them. But do they seem hinked up? Because body language tells a lot. We hear a picture is worth 1,000 words. Body language is worth 1,000 words. Do they look like they're going to be a problem for me? And it's just, it's a feeling. It's that sense that you develop. Quite often, not all the time, but quite often, you know if someone is going to be compliant or if they're going to be a problem. And then what kind of a problem? Are they just going to be verbally a problem and give me a hard time about why'd you stop me? Or are they going to be a violent? Are they a threat? And those are just some of the things I look for. Where are the hands? Are the hands on the steering wheel? Can I see them? Who's in the back seat? Is it adults that look like they could be a problem? Is it kids? You can really size up what's going on just by looking in the car.
Bro, all those like tips that you just gave, like you're doing this fast, bro, and all those could literally fucking save your life, dude. Because you miss one cue and bang, bro, it could be over.
Yep. And then something else is letting them know right away why you stopped them. Because a lot of criminals are doing a lot of crime and they don't always know why they're being stopped. And if you let them know, hey, I stopped you because you have expired registration, or I stopped you because you rolled a stop sign, it can put them at ease knowing, because they don't know. They know that you don't know what you don't know. So
Right.
If that's it, hey, or if they have warrants, again, you can feel if someone's hinked up. And if you are, then you need to utilize your resources. Hey, call for a back. Prolong the stop as long as you can until someone else gets there. Or depending on the situation, pull them out of the car, get them in handcuffs. So a traffic stop is a detention, and you can put someone in handcuffs. Depending on the situation, everything
Officer safety
is dependent on what you have. Maybe they're on parole, maybe they're on probation, maybe they just say, hey, I got warrants. Okay, cool. And you go from that situation, and I always like to work with people, because cars are important to families. And if you have someone saying, hey, this is my baby mama's car, or this is my mother's car, like they need it, can you not tow it? Yeah. Hey, turn around, cuff up real quick. Let me call your mom, have her come pick up the car. If you can work out something like that. Usually you can, sometimes you can't, it just depends.
I watch a lot of YouTube, man. Police Activities is one of the YouTube channels, and it shows a lot of like body-worn cameras and interactions. And I noticed in this generational thing, what does command presence mean to you?
It means looking solid, having self-respect, being confident, and not arrogant or cocky, but confident, meaning that you know what you're doing. Because when you're dealing with sophisticated gangsters, street criminals, they know. Some of them know your job better than you do.
Facts.
And by speaking confidently, looking confident, as in your boots are shined, your uniform is squared away, if you look sloppy, they're going to treat you sloppy. If you look like you're on point, you know what you're doing, they're going to treat you that way. Command presence is important.
What about establishing control of the situation? Because I've seen numerous videos where the cop will just let the suspect just run wild to the point where now they're getting shot at, when that could have easily been nipped in the butt from my experience.
Yes. And being in situations that I've been in, I don't, if I wasn't involved in something, I don't second
Correct.
guess
That's like
other
Monday morning
officers.
quarterback, but
Right.
there's some blatantly obvious,
Yes.
oh my God.
Oh, absolutely. If you need to listen to your gut, always listen. If your gut, and it tells us,
It does, bro.
you know, the biggest truth teller that we have is our gut.
100%.
And if your gut is telling you, hey, I need to get this dude cuffed up right now, do it. Because hesitation will get you hurt. If you have the and typically opportunity is there right when you arrive on scene. Get people cuffed up who need to get cuffed up, put people in the back of the car who need to get put in the back of the car, have people sit down, and you take control of the situation. And if you're having trouble, because sometimes there's just too much going on, utilize your resources. Don't be afraid to call, hey, I need a back. I need a couple other guys over here.
Okay. Also gives these new officers tips on like the order or the sequence of things that you would do, actions, like you said, get people cuffed up, separate the people. What is the ideal sequence of order of events or priority?
So the ideal, so you need to know where you want to go. And where you want to go is code 4. So how do I get there? And every situation being different, but typically how you get there is you want to separate parties. So if it's a domestic dispute type thing going on, you want to separate the male from the female. Or if it's a fight, you want to separate the fighting parties and get them in different rooms or different areas of the house. If it's at a house, have people sit down, extend their legs, cross their ankles, and you need to exude calm because calm begets calm. And if the officers are calm, it helps calm the people. It's like with parents. When parents are fighting and there's hostilities going on at the house, the kids are all hostile. But if things are calm, the parents are getting along, the kids will get along. And it's very similar in that nature. And so you want to separate people, get the aggressors separated from everybody else because one aggressor can get everybody riled up. So you need to identify very quickly who that person is, get them cuffed up, put them back in your car, everybody else sit down. Hey, everybody chill, request resources. Once everything's code 4, if medical aid is needed, roll in medical aid, start conducting interviews. A lot of times you know that something happened, but you don't know what happened.
Okay.
So then in the same way of identifying who your aggressors are, you need to identify the people who will talk to you because there's always people who will talk, but you need to separate them. But before you do that, you need to come up with a way where you're not going to put them on Front Street.
Right.
So just start with everybody, one person at a time, bring them out. And if they want to talk, they'll talk. If they don't, they don't. But then bring out the person who you identified. And how do you know? You look into their eyes. You develop that sense. And maybe they're telling you with their eyes, hey, officer, I'll tell you what's going on. Like, I need help. Right. Or this person needs help. And that goes to, well, who's going to get arrested?
Okay.
What crimes do we have here? What else? Who took off running? Who's outstanding? Are there, before we got here, did people hide guns in the house?
Damn.
Like what is going on?
I was going to ask you one more question regarding, let me see, I asked you about the patrol. I asked you about the separating. Okay. In law enforcement agencies, the standard training that is received by their agencies or departments is usually not sufficient enough to sustain, right? Like the year or to be able to perform your duties. Would you say that cops need to be proactive in order to better themselves at their job?
Oh, 100%. The training that you get is called the Basic Academy because it's basic. It gets you, the 6-month academy gets you prepared for field training, not to go off on your own. It gives you an idea. It gives you the idea of what this job is. Like, hey, the questions to ask. It helps you identify crimes and understand probable cause and how this system, how this whole thing works. But it's not enough to last your career. And so in California, every officer has to go through what they call CPT, continued professional training. And for most agencies, also known as trimester training, meaning once every 4 months, you go and requalify with your firearms to show that you're proficient. And then you get case updates on case law. You get your CPR, first aid update. You get new updates on new policies and procedures within the department. Things are always changing. New bills are signed. Use of force laws change. And so, but that's only once every 4 months. It's important to put yourself through not only the fun training, so I'm talking about like shooting training, yes. Tactical movement training, yes. There's a lot of great high-speed tactical training that you can attend on your own. Some of it's expensive, some of it's not, but it's worth every penny.
Yeah, it's fucking priceless, bro. You can't put a price on your fucking life.
Yeah, you can't train too much for a job that can kill you. But on the other hand, it's important to also attend administrative classes. So to attend classes on POBAR, internal affairs, to attend classes on courtroom testimony, on interview techniques, attend classes on confidential informant handling, because being a cop is so much more than just arresting people. It's so much more than just SWAT. It's so much more than narcotics and violent crime. It encompasses a world of everything. And it's important to have a full understanding of how to properly respond to what you're faced with, because you have no idea what you're going to be faced with. You know, it could be a natural disaster, a massive mudslide, or a fire. Well, what am I supposed to do with a fire? Like,
damn, that's nuts, dude.
Get the ball rolling. You know, there's a saying that I heard, I don't know when I first heard it, but there's a saying that said, don't be the last one to know a secret. And so what that means is, like, people, there's quite often, like, none of us are perfect and none of us know everything.
Correct.
But when you come into information and it's something that you don't know how to handle, don't let that die with you. Like, phone a friend, call a supervisor. You know, if you have some type of situation that you don't know how to handle, don't be the last one to know that secret. Like, make some notifications, call somebody will know.
I think that's why you seem humble to me, bro, and you don't have ego, is because you're willing to ask for help and fucking say, hey, I don't know the answer to this, but I'll figure it out.
Yeah, because I've seen too often where people who are afraid to ask because the ego gets in the way, and bad things happen.
Bad things do fucking happen, right? When it could have been prevented, all they had to do was deflate their ego a little bit, man, come back to some normalcy and be like, hey, dude, I don't know what the fuck to do, OG. Well, don't trip. We got you.
Yeah.
Right? Because there's a lot of older veteran cops that would be able to help willing to help these youngsters.
Oh, absolutely.
They don't want to see nobody get hurt, man. What last closing words do you have for the crowd, bro? It was a pleasure having you here, man, and diving into your career.
Man, I first want to thank you for having me on your show. And I want to tell you that when I first discovered you on YouTube and listened to your interviews, I really appreciate what you're doing, the message that you're sending out, because it's important to hear both sides. I love how you have prior convicts on the show and hearing their side. And then also you have prior law enforcement hearing their side. And it's so important to have that willingness to listen to everybody and not be closed-minded.
Facts, bro.
And
thank
so,
you.
Man, thank you for doing that. Closing words from me is that if you're interested in a career in law enforcement, it's an incredible career, and you will have the opportunity to reach into people's lives and truly help them and truly make a difference. And if you're interested in something like that, no agency is better than the other. I'd say getting into this business is good, and whoever you choose is going to give you the opportunity to get out there and really make a difference.
I appreciate that, man. Also, thank you for that gift that you gave me. He made me a really awesome plaque. I'll post it up either here or at my podcast studio back home, but it's awesome, dude. So thank you for getting that made for me, bro.
Yeah, you're welcome.
There you guys have it, man. Another banger. And he's right. We do get people from all walks of life. And you'll notice there's a lot of similarities. We're all human. With that, if you like what you saw, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Love you. Keep pushing forward.
Unhinged mind, Hector's legend engraved. Living life raw, never been tamed. From the hood to the pen, truth and tales pen. Hector Bravo unhinged, story never ends.